Let's try a little thought experiment, shall we? Imagine I could send you back in time to make what might just be the toughest sales pitch in history.
Okay, so here's the mission. You've arrived in the incredible, thriving port of ancient Carthage. In your ship, you've got a cargo hold full of beautiful, high-quality purple fabric. Your job? Sell it and make a fortune. I mean, it's a fantastic color, really vibrant. This should be easy, right?
Well, here's the catch, and oh boy, it is a big one. The very people you're trying to sell this purple fabric to, the Phoenicians, they didn't just buy purple, they literally invented the world's most famous purple dye. You're basically trying to sell sand in the desert. So how on earth do you pull this off?
To even begin to answer that, you have to know your customer. So first things first, let's get to know your client, the Phoenicians.
Look, these were not just some average merchants. The Phoenicians were an absolute powerhouse. We're talking about master shipbuilders and navigators who pretty much owned the Mediterranean Sea. They were probably the greatest traders of the ancient world. They didn't just follow trade routes, they created them. They founded massive cities like Carthage. And, as a little side project, they also gave us the phonetic alphabet, the ancestor of the one we're all using right now.
And here's what you really need to get about their mindset. They weren't just bargain hunters. No. They understood value. They understood supply chains. They understood innovation better than anyone. They literally created markets out of nothing. So yeah, this is the expert level crowd you're trying to sell to.
So you know the client is brilliant and they're tough. Now let's take a look at their signature product, the very thing you're supposed to be competing against, the legendary Tyrian purple.
This stuff wasn't just mixed, it was an entire industrial operation. I mean, it all started with harvesting thousands and thousands of this one specific type of sea snail, the murex. Then, workers had to extract this one tiny little gland, let them all rot in the sun for days, and apparently the smell was just famously awful, and then boil the whole mess down. It was brutal, disgusting, and incredibly labor-intensive work.
And just to give you a sense of the scale here, get this. To get enough dye for just the decorative trim on a single Roman toga, you needed something like 12,000 of those snails. Not for the whole robe, just the trim. That's just a staggering amount of effort.
So you have to understand, Tyrian purple was never just a color. It was wealth. It was a declaration of power. The dye was famously color-fast, which means it would never fade. In fact, sunlight actually made the color deeper and brighter. This is why Roman emperors and senators wore it. It was the ultimate status symbol, worth far more than its weight in gold. Okay, so let's just put this side by side. Your purple fabric? It's perfectly nice. It's a consistent color, it's easy to make with modern tech. It's a commodity. Their purple? It's a legend. It's a symbol of immense power, backed by a secret, stinky, and unbelievably expensive process. You are so not competing on the same level. It's not even the same sport.
Right. So selling them your purple fabric is completely off the table. You'd be laughed out of the harbor before your ship was even tied up. So what do? You pivot. It's time to come up with a brand new pitch.
And this is really the whole point. This is the big question. You've got a ship. You have access to other parts of the world. So what do these master traders, who have everything, actually need? What could you bring them that helps their business instead of trying to compete with their crown jewel?
So let's brainstorm. What are your options? Well, you could bring them raw materials they need, right? Like tin from all the way over in Britain, which they absolutely need to make bronze. Or maybe you go for high-value foods like exotic spices that weigh very little. You could even trade in ideas, new sailing techniques to appeal to their expertise. Or, hey, how about papyrus from Egypt? They have this game-changing alphabet, but they need something to write on.
And that right there is the breakthrough. The sale isn't about your purple fabric anymore. The winning move is to stop trying to compete where you are hopelessly outmatched and start providing value where they actually have a need. You instantly go from being a pathetic competitor to a valuable partner in their global trade network.
This whole ancient sales mission isn't just a fun story. It actually teaches us some really powerful lessons about business, about value, and about the incredible legacy of a single color.
So what are the big takeaways from all this? First, know your customer, inside and out. The Phoenicians weren't just any buyers. They were the world's leading experts. Second, you have to understand your product's true value and its limits. Third, and this might be the most important one, if you can't win the game, don't just play harder, change the game. And finally, remember that the truly great products, like Tyrian purple, they don't just serve an existing market, they create one.
Because in the end, that's what Tyrian purple was. It was so much more than a dye.
Using our language today, you'd say it was a powerful brand built on exclusive technology that cemented its place as the ultimate status symbol for centuries. Which brings us to a final, really interesting question. What products or brands today have that same kind of untouchable power? What's so rare, so hard to make, and so tied to status that it becomes a modern-day Tyrian purple? Something to think about.